integrated pest management has many definitions, but essentially it's quite simple. It relies on three things: prevention, monitoring and intervention. And if you really look close at it, integrated pest management is actually only knowledge and the gathering thereof. And today we will give you information regarding how to do this. Simple as that.
Cultivars that show records of good quality and great yield should be considered, while also considering plantings are done in such a way that encourages cross-pollination.
Honeybees as well need a lot of other nutrition sources, nutrients from natural flowers that are in the vicinity, promotes pollination, and if farmers don't add these flowers, do you think it might contribute to less nut set because the pollinators go out of the orchards to find that food source?
That's a very important question. What we've seen in orchards with bare soil is that you sit with a monocrop, with a monoculture, which is in ecological terms unstable. The moment you have a polyculture with a lot of crops growing in the interrow, you sit with a more stable ecosystem with more biodiversity, and this is exactly what you're trying to encourage.
I think parasitoids also need to feed on nectar and pollen, and if there's no food for the parasitoids, then we tend not to find them in orchards with the lack of other flowering plants.
Very important to plant different cultivars on good rootstocks in a well-prepared soil. To plant different cultivars in the orchards that are adapted in your area with a microclimate is also very good for cross-pollination to achieve a good harvest.
Best planting practices should be followed and plants should be maintained in such a way that it is optimally irrigated. Nutrition should be available and the trees are pruned to allow for optimal branching and complexity, which allows sunlight and airflow into the trees. The soil should be covered and the soils can be kept alive and healthy for optimal root development as a standard practice.
Elsha, what do you think is the effect of ultra-high density on the health of a macadamia orchard?
I think this orchard is stressed. There's not healthy soil here, there's not good root development. In terms of density and tree health, denser means lack of sunlight.
Absolutely.
And when there's no sunlight, there's not a good crop that sets.
Yeah, and I see on the ground the moss that grows here and the soil crusting is something that could definitely affect root health.
Yeah, and contribute to waterlogging, standing water on the surface, which kills macadamia roots. Managing
plant stress is very important. If you look at the complex of macadamia felted cosset, Botrytis and the bark borers, there's most certainly plant stress involved. I do not think that stressed plants are more prone for macadamia felted cosset. I do think infection is random. But once a felted cosset is in the orchard, it causes significant stress, which could make Botrytis and bark borer infestations worse. Yeah, Elsha, what other problems do you associate with very high density orchards?
There's normally a high pest pressure, like nut borers and stink bugs. I think ineffective spraying contributes to that.
Yeah, and I've seen in orchards that should be under biological control, that hasn't been sprayed, that under these ultra-high densities you do get sooty mold and mealybug in the orchards as well. So I presume that even in the dark, dense conditions, the parasitoids cannot do their job as they would in a more open orchard.
Yes, fungi contribute to a lot of our damages on the flower stages as well in dense orchards. This is a 344 orchard planted at 7x5 spacing. It is a dense orchard, and I think that this cultivar is especially prone to stink bug and nut borer damage.
I've seen it as well, and there are cultivars such as we've seen 816 is extremely susceptible to nut borers and to some of the fungal diseases. But we've seen the inverse as well, with Beaumont seemingly to be more resistant against certain varieties.
We've also seen that where there's natural covers and it's something that the bugs prefer to macadamia, that they rather stick to that ground covers and not necessarily affect the nuts in a bad way. So slashing sometimes means that the bugs are now going to be on the trees, and it's a susceptible tree which might lead to more damage in this crop, especially with the lack of covers in this orchard.
This could be achieved with good root development in healthy soils and optimal nutrition and water availability. Ground covers may also help to keep the soil and plants healthy and aid in pest management through providing alternative food sources and also harboring beneficials. It also has a general function in retaining soil carbon, soil moisture, and adding to a diverse ecosystem in the orchard.
Integrated pest management forms part of integrated crop management. It is important that growers plant cultivars and rootstocks that's suitable in the area, bearing in mind the climate, the soil type, and water that is available. Before planting, it is advised that the soil should be prepared well and that only the best performing cultivars are planted in a way that will ensure that the trees are healthy when they grow up.